Hi guys, it's Miss Karen, the Young Adult Librarian at the Goshen Public Library, and today I'm back with a brand new box. Not a huge box, but a medium-sized box. So we probably have a decent number of books. So let's see what we've got to add to the collection this week. Hopefully there are a few books I've been waiting for in here. Let's see. All right, number one on our list is Kate in Waiting by Becky Albertalli. Pretty popular author. She's got a lot of books that people really like, so let's check this one out. Contrary to popular belief, best friends Kate Garfield and Anderson Walker are not codependent, carpooling to and from theater rehearsals, environmentally sound and efficient, consulting each other on every single life decision, basic good judgment, pining for the same guys from afar, shared crushes are more fun anyway. But when Kate and Andy's latest long-distance crush shows up at their school, everything goes off script. Matt Olson is talented and sweet, and Kate likes him. She really likes him. The only problem, so does Anderson. Turns out, communal crushes aren't so fun when real feelings are involved. This one might even bring the curtains down on Kate and Anderson's friendship. So, realistic fiction, friendship, romance, everything you could want from a book. Kate in Waiting by Becky Albertalli says, break a leg, not your heart. Okay, so next we have What Beauty There Is by Corey Anderson. This one has gotten some pretty rave reviews, so let's see what it's about. To understand the truth, you have to start at the beginning. Winter in Idaho. The sky is dark. It's cold enough to crack bones. Living in harsh poverty, Jack Dahl is holding his breath. He and his younger brother have nothing except each other. And now Jack faces a stark choice. Lose his brother to foster care or find the drug money that sent his father to prison. He chooses the money. Ava Bardem lives in isolation, a life of silence. For 17 years, her father, a merciless man, has controlled her fate. He has taught her to love no one. Now he is stalking the same money Jack is. When he picks up on Jack's trail, Ava must make her own wrenching choice. Remain silent or speak and help the brothers survive. Choices. They come at a price. So this is realistic fiction. It sounds very suspenseful. Definitely interesting choices. What Beauty There Is by Corey Anderson. All right, let's see what's next. This looks like an interesting one. It's called The Forest of Stolen Girls by Jane Herr. That's a very interesting cover. The forest watches me, hostile and still, with remembering eyes. 1426 Josiane. Juani's family has never been the same since she and her younger sister went missing and were later found unconscious in the forest near a gruesome crime scene. Years later, Detective Min, Juani's father, learns that 13 girls have recently disappeared from the same forest that nearly stole his daughters. He travels to their hometown on the island of Jeju to investigate, only to vanish as well. Determined to find her father and solve the case that tore their family apart, Juani returns home to pick up the trail. As she digs into the secrets of the small village and collides with her now estranged sister, Juani comes to realize that the answer could lie within her own buried memories of what happened in the forest all those years ago. So this, again, suspense, mystery, all those things. The Forest of Stolen Girls by Jane Herr. Okay, next we have She Drives Me Crazy by Kelly Quinlan. Again, looks like realistic fiction. After an embarrassing loss to her ex-girlfriend in their first basketball game of the season, 17-year-old Scotty Jajic gets into a fender bender with the worst possible person, her nemesis, Irene Abraham, head cheerleader for the Fighting Reindeer. Irene is as mean as she is beautiful, so Scotty makes a point to keep her distance. When the accident sends Irene's car to the shop for a week's worth of repairs, and the girls are forced to carpool, their rocky start only gets bumpier. But when an opportunity arises for Scotty to get back at her toxic ex and climb her school's social ladder, she bribes Irene into an elaborate fake dating scheme that threatens to reveal some very real feelings. So, a little bit of romance, and She Drives Me Crazy by Kelly Quinlan. All right. Next, we have Muted by Tammy Charles. And this is a novel in verse, so it's written in poetry. Be bold, get seen, be heard. For 17-year-old Denver, music is everything. Writing, performing, and her ultimate goal, escaping her very small, very white hometown. So Denver is more than ready on the day she and her best friends, Dolly and Shaq, sing their way into the orbit of the biggest R&B star in the world, Sean Mercury Ellis. Merc gives them everything, parties, perks, wild nights, plus hours and hours in the recording studio. Even the painful sacrifices and the lies the girls have to tell are all worth it, until they're not. Denver begins to realize that she's trapped in Merc's world, struggling to hold on to her own voice. As the dream turns into a nightmare, she must make a choice, lose her big break or get broken. Inspired by true events, Muted is a fearless exploration of the dark side of the music industry, the business of exploitation, how a girl's dreams can be used against her, and what it takes to fight back. So that's Muted, a novel in verse by Tammy Charles. More realistic fiction. We have a strongly realistic fiction box this time. Next, What's Not to Love by Emily Wibberley and Austin Sigmund Broca. This looks like straight up romance, I'm going to say. When competition is what you live for, the biggest challenge can be learning what you love for. Since freshman year, Allison Sanger and Ethan Malloy have competed in almost everything. AP classes, the school paper, community service, it never ends. If Allison could avoid Ethan until graduation, she would. Except naturally, for two overachieving seniors with their sights on valedictorian and Harvard, they share all the same classes and extracurriculars. So when their school's principal assigns them the task of co-planning a previous class's 10-year reunion, with the promise of a recommendation for Harvard if they do, Ethan and Allison are willing to endure one more activity together if it means beating the other out of the lead. But with all this extra time spent in each other's company, their rivalry begins to feel closer to friendship. And as tension between them builds, Allison fights the growing realization that the only thing she wants more than winning is Ethan. Based on the author's real-life academic rivalry, Emily and Austin reveal how sometimes what you fight the hardest is what or who you end up holding closest. So, What's Not to Love by Emily Wibberley and Austin Sigmund Broca. All right, getting to the bottom here. We only have a few more left. Down Comes the Night by Allison Saft. This one looks a little spooky. Let's see. He saw the darkness in her magic. She saw the magic in his darkness. Ren Sutherland's reckless use of magic has cost her everything. She's been dismissed from the Queen's Guard and separated from her best friend, the girl she loves. So when a letter arrives from a reclusive lord asking Ren to come to his estate, Colwick Hall, to cure his servant of a mysterious illness, she seizes her chance to redeem herself. The mansion is crumbling. Icy winds haunt the caved-in walls, and Ren's eccentric host forbids her from leaving her room after dark. Worse, her patient isn't a servant at all, but Hal Cavendish, the infamous Reaper of Vesria and her kingdom's sworn enemy. He also came to Colwick Hall for redemption, but the secrets in the estate may lead to both of their deaths. With sinister forces at work, Ren and Hal realize they'll have to join together if they have any hope of saving their kingdoms. But as Ren circles closer to the nefarious truth behind Hal's illness, they realize they have no escape from the monsters within the mansion. All they have is each other, and the startling desire that could be their downfall. Allison Saft's Down Comes the Night is a snow-drenched romantic fantasy that keeps you racing through the pages long into the night. So if you're looking for scary and spooky and a little bit of romance, a little bit of gothic, we've got Down Comes the Night by Allison Saft. Okay, next is The Secret Recipe for Moving On by Karen Bisher. This looks like a quick read and a sweet one. Sometimes getting over it means starting from scratch. Ellie Agreste's not sure anything could be worse than being dumped by her boyfriend Hunter the first day of senior year. But sharing a life skills class with him and his new girlfriend Bryn, and getting partnered with a family of misfits, AJ the loudmouth, Isaiah the horse racing obsessive, and Luke the tattooed stunt biker, it's a recipe for certain disaster. until an in-class competition allows Ellie to channel her angst into beating Hunter and Bryn's team, and she unexpectedly bonds with her own group, especially Luke, in the process. But as Ellie soon discovers, it will take more than the classroom triumphs to heal her broken heart and find herself again. So that is The Secret Recipe for Moving On by Karen Bisher. And I would guess realistic fiction, romance. Okay, we only got a few left. This is Switch by A.S. King. Again, a quick read. A.S. King has lots of books, and they're always a little bit strange. But let's see what this one's about. Time has stopped. It's been June 23rd for nearly a year, as far as anyone can tell. Frantic adults demand that teenagers focus on finding practical solutions to the worldwide crisis. Not everyone is on board, though. Javelin-throwing prodigy Truda Becker is pretty sure her Solution Time class won't solve the world's problems, but she does have a few ideas what might. Truda lives in a house with a switch that no one ever touches. A switch her father protects every day by nailing it in hundreds of progressively larger boxes. But Truda's got a crowbar, and one way or another, she's going to see what happens when she flips the switch. And that is Switch by A.S. King. Definitely sounds not like realistic fiction, but a fun read nonetheless. Okay, and we have 2 books left. This one is Where the Road Leads Us by Robin Riehl. Let's see. Jack is on the verge of leaving for college, but before he does, he wants to track down his estranged brother, Alex, and find some closure in the wake of their father's death. Meanwhile, Hallie has just found out some upsetting news about a friend in Oregon, and she has a small window to go see him before it's too late. Jack and Hallie are practically strangers. They shared a class together years ago and haven't seen each other since, though they have more in common than they'd ever imagine. And when fate puts them into the same rideshare to the bus terminal, it kicks off an unconventional and hilarious adventure that may lead them to their own true selves, and maybe to each other. Sometimes the best path is the unexpected one. So this is a road trip book. I love road trip books. So definitely check out Where the Road Leads Us by Robin Riehl. And the last book in my box is by an author you may have read before. It's called Realm Breaker by Victoria Aveyard, and she wrote the Red Queen series. So if you've read the Red Queen books, if you can see them down there, the covers. She wrote those. Realm Breaker is the first book in a new series by Victoria Aveyard. Save the world or end it. A strange darkness is growing in the ward. Even Coraine, an Amarat, can feel it, tucked away in her small town at the edge of the sea. Fate knocks on her door in the form of a mythical, immortal, and lethal assassin who tell Coraine that she is the last of an ancient lineage with the power to save the world from destruction. Because a man who would burn kingdoms to the ground is raising an army unlike any seen before, bent on uprooting the foundations of the world. With poison in his heart and a stolen sword in his hand, he'll break the realm itself to claim it, and only Coraine can stop him. Alongside an unlikely group of reluctant allies, Coraine finds herself on a desperate journey to complete an impossible task, with untold magic singing in her blood and the fate of the world on her shoulders. Definitely a new epic fantasy series from Victoria Aveyard. On the back, we have a squire, the survivor of a failed quest, an immortal, timeless and unfathomable, an assassin, skilled and heartless, an old sorceress holding secrets behind her teeth, and a pirate's daughter, the ward's last hope. The heroes are gone, but the fight to save the world has only just begun. That is Realm Breaker by Victoria Aveyard. And that is my box this time around. Hopefully I'll have some more books soon, but if any of these interest you, you can put them on hold in the catalog on the computer, or you can stop in and check out our new bookshelf and pick them up for yourself. They should be available any day now. I will see you again soon with a new box. Have a great week.